What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of STORYHIVE on location Vancouver with beats, eats, and more. I'm your host, Kazi, and we are broadcasting live right now on the unceded ancestral lands of the Musqueam, the Tsleil-Waututh, and Squamish First Nations, of whom we give utmost love, respect, and gratitude for being the original stewards and protectors of these lands and these waters. I am also going to give a big shout out to Tell a Story Hive for powering today's episode. And now I would like to introduce you to my guest. Tonight on the show, we're joined by Vancouver-based artist who, in life and in music, refuses to pick a lane. By day, Mikey Jose is a neuroscience PhD candidate. By night, he's an independent artist blending R&B, gospel, and pop into something deeply soulful and effortlessly relatable. He lives in the in-between, building bridges between brain and heart, research and rhythm. With over 9 million streams and international radio spins, all independent and pre-debut album, Mikey is already moving globally while staying grounded in story. Inspired by greats like Stevie Wonder, Aretha Franklin, Leon Thomas, and Beyoncé, he leads with melody and meaning, giving us B-sides that hit just as hard as the singles. From Vancouver to the world, tonight we tap into the mind and music of Mikey Jose.
Woo! Thanks for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you for coming.
Of course,
Enjoying
of course.
my snacks. I don't know if you see this array of
This is the eats and more right
That's it.
here.
He literally walked in and was like, "You weren't kidding about the beats eats."
Yeah, these are not props, you guys. They're real.
Yes, I love that. I love that you're down to eat on camera and
I'm
eat on
so
the show.
down. I'm really hungry.
You know, there are people out there on the internet who love that, like the sound of the crunches. Yeah.
We're doing half ASMR
Yeah.
episode today, so I'm gonna do my.
Let's just record the different crunches you get. Like here's cucumber. It's soft.
Yeah, no, this is a good one. Wait, hold on. Where's the mic? Sound.
Yeah. Hey.
Woo! Sample that. Put that in the record.
And that sound bite literally also has me going, "Hey."
Ooh.
Mikey, we're here. We made it.
We did it.
He forgot that he met me before. That's what's hilarious. He walked in, like, "So nice to meet you." I was like, "Bro, this is not the first
Are you
time."
calling me out for the first question? You know what? Yeah. And as you mentioned, you had a completely different look when we had met.
Yes.
You're always rebranding, as good artists always do.
This is
so, you know, it felt like a cognitive test for me to remember all the changes. But now that we've spoken, I'm like, of course I remember.
Yeah, you remember my essence and my vibe.
The essence and the vibe are the same. And the
Because
effervescent.
who could forget that? Let's just be honest. So context, we met, well, actually, we didn't officially meet here, but I did see you perform in 2022 as part of Vancouver Mural Fest, Music BC stage. I'm pretty sure that was 2022. And then you were the band for my high school best friend, Amy Nguyen, shout out.
Shout out Amy, shout out Chris.
And
Great
that
night.
wedding was epic on so many levels. And what was dope was that you also didn't have to fully do your whole job because it became like this karaoke band situation.
Was a party. Yeah.
Where you're like, who knows Whitney Houston? Raises the hand of like so many Filipinos.
Exactly.
And they were slaying. I forgot the name of that one woman who was our friend's wife, and she just killed it on the Whitney, the what do you call those?
The runs, the riffs.
The runs, that's it.
That's the thing about being Filipino is when I go back to the Philippines, like where my parents grew up, everyone here is like, "Wow, you're such a good singer, you're like a vocalist." And you go into any mall in the Philippines, and everyone who's like singing karaoke at the mall is like the best singer I've ever heard.
Exactly.
So really, I'm just an average guy who just happens to be Filipino, and the Filipinos sing down.
Yeah.
It is just what it is.
That's what's funny. He's like, "You will make it in Canada because they're rare." That's so good. Well, you know, I'm really super stoked that we finally made this happen.
Yeah.
And today I want to have a conversation about not just your music, but your, as we do with many of the guests on the show, 123 interviews to date, in fact. I want to talk about your creative journeys. And I definitely want to talk to you about neuroscience stuff.
Oh,
so
happy to talk about it all.
I'm down to get nerdy.
We're gonna get down and nerdy today.
Yes, with snacks.
With snacks.
So let's start with, you know, do you remember the first moment you realized music wasn't just something you liked, but something you needed and something in you to be expressed?
Yeah, I think I do. I mean, I think my mom would have a moment that she says is kind of like she knew that music meant something to me, and I have my own moment. So my mom's moment was apparently, this is before my brain had consciousness in itself. My mom said that my sister at the time was taking piano lessons. She's 5 years older than I am, and she was playing some like Ode to Joy or something, Ode to Joy, and then my sister like went to the kitchen or went to the bathroom, and she heard Ode to Joy being played on the piano, and she was like, "Wow, Trisha's doing really well. Like she's attending her lessons and she's learning." And then she looks over the piano, and it's me, and I'm like, I don't know how old I was, but I was like mimicking what I was hearing. Apparently, I don't have any memory of this, but my mom was like, "You were picking up this song by ear." I mean, given it's like 4 or 5 notes, but like it was, I think that was like the start of something even before I knew it was something.
You were how old?
I have no idea. I was probably like 3 or 4 or something.
One of these music baby geniuses.
You know, and I like, again, I don't remember it. I'd like to believe that is a real story, but she says it a lot, so I'm convinced that it is. For me personally, I knew that it was something special when I started writing music. I went to I did kind of like the classical training when I was a kid. I went to lessons as a kid, kind of begrudgingly going to piano lessons. And then at some point, I realized that with the same combination of notes that I was playing on the piano, I could create new melodies, I could create new ideas. And there was just like a lot of inspiration from the pieces that I was playing, really simple pieces. Excuse me. And I was just enamored by changing the combination of notes and making new things. And I'm like, that kind of sounds great. So I kept doing that, and that was kind of the spark of using music as a tool to say something. I was pretty, I had both outspoken and shy phases in my life, but I always felt like music was my language to say what was truly in my heart. And I haven't stopped since. It's been a really amazing journey.
How old were you at the time then you first started writing songs?
I mean, if we're talking about writing songs as in like very simple words kind of don't make sense, but it's a song, I'd say as early as like 7 or 8.
Wow.
It was real. I mean, like, again, I might be overstating what a song is. We're operationalizing what a song is in a particular way. But yeah, I was really young, and I was just mixing and combining and making silly rhymes. And
that's how you start.
That's how you start. Yeah.
Or and even still, like when you just like gibberish, make a melody, or gibberish, make
it's still part of the
process.
Chorus.
It's part of the process until words emerge.
Exactly.
That's really dope. Yeah. What music then were you surrounded by in your home and growing up? Like what sounds inspired and influenced you?
A lot of soul music, a lot of like pop R&B, a lot of like Bee Gees, a lot of Brian McKnight.
Oh
yeah. Yeah, speaking of Amy's wedding, when the request for that event that we were both a part of was Back at One. And I mean, if anybody knows Brian McKnight's Back at One,
I'm singing it in my mind now. Like a dream come true.
I like it because it's laid out. It's like scientific method. It's like he gave us 5 steps, and we just gotta do the 5 steps and go back to 1. Anyway, great song. It's a lot of that, like growing up, and a lot of like Stevie Wonder, like just like soulful, feel-good music with a lot of like melody-driven things. Also grew up in the church, so a lot of the music we listened to was were like church hymns.
Yeah.
And it seems like I found the Venn diagram of the soulful undertones of all these sounds that I listened to growing up. It's kind of informed what I do now, obviously with the mixture of like new flavors of R&B and.
Did you grow up in like a Protestant church?
Catholic.
Okay.
Yeah. I still play for Mass every Sunday. Oh. So like, I know a lot of my favorite musicians that I had growing up and still do have that church background. And, I think there's something about like the soul and like some kind of spiritual element of music, but also just expressing yourself in such a primitive way that I think really resonated with me and still resonates with me.
I'm about to put myself on blast here by admitting something to you, but there was a a very specific moment where I embarrassed myself in front of Brian McKnight.
No. Okay, well,
Yeah,
you must.
Yeah, I will. That's the point. I'll do it for the hits is what's going to happen right now.
Wow.
But what happened was I went, you know, like when you hop in the car with your homies and you're like, we're going to go hit up the outlets in the U.S. and we just do like a little day trip to drive down to the U.S. Did you ever do that with your homies?
No.
Okay.
But I mean, I feel like I missed out on that era. That feels like very,
Well, I did that. And I went down to like to Lalip or something this, the outlet malls. And Brian McKnight was having a concert in the stadium thing that was next to it. And we're like, oh my gosh, we're seeing the posters all over the mall.
Wow.
And then out comes Brian McKnight and his limo driver.
Stop.
And I went up to the limo driver, the wrong guy, and I said, can I take a picture with you? And Brian's face was like,
my palms are sweaty thinking about that.
His face was like, are you serious? And the driver just was like, he literally did one of those like cackling, slapping his thigh, running around in circles around me and my friend, being like, take our picture.
Yeah.
So I took a picture with the driver and then Brian McKnight begrudgingly.
Yeah, that's hilarious. You know what? And I can't even blame you because I've had so many embarrassing moments in my life that I'm like, I had secondhand embarrassment because I like have been there before. My palms are sweating though. I'm not gonna lie. Just thinking about
Would you like to even it out and share an embarrassing moment?
Oh, it's too many. Actually, it's a funny running joke that I have with my sister in that I've like planned out my future memoir and we've like written out the chapters of my memoir.
Yeah.
And all of it is just like I'm like I have no wisdom to give. I just have embarrassing stories. I think it'll be like a comedy memoir type thing. Oh gosh, there's too many. That's
actually a perfect memoir where it's just like, it's literally the list of all my embarrassing moments.
So many. Actually, well, so this wasn't meant to be a segue, but in the latest song that I released, it's called Biting My Tongue.
Yes, love that song.
The first line of that song is, showed up early to the party, hadn't started, mom and dad sitting in the parking. That's based on a true story. When I was in high school, not a cool guy at all.
Yeah.
I was invited to like one of the popular kids. I'm putting myself on blast now. Yes. One of the most popular kids at the school that I went to in high school was throwing this party, and we knew each other from like playing volleyball together. I wasn't a cool guy, but in like the classic sense. But I was invited to this party. I was super excited, but I also was, still getting to know myself. I was very much like trying to assimilate into my surroundings.
Yes.
So I show up to this party early. Didn't know that was a faux pas, like a high school party. It says it starts at 8:30. Yeah. It really starts at 9:30.
Yes.
I show up at 7:30. And my parents,
an hour early,
literally or something absurd like that. Yeah. And I show up, and I'm Filipino, so I usually show up late. But I'm like, I have to be there on time. Yeah. I have to show that I had no idea. So I'm here, but I also am like, I think this is too early. I show up. There's like crickets. Nobody's obviously there yet. Yeah. I don't think like the host was even there. So I went up to the door and I was like, you know what? I think I might just stay outside and wait here until the first guests come, and then I'll just like walk in. Like, oh my god! Yeah, I know.
Feel for your little BB self.
I know. So I was there, and I was. This is like the Brian McKnight equality story here. Yeah. So I have to go in on like all the details. Yeah. Essentially, here I am standing outside the door. My dad calls me. Yeah. And he's like, why are you just standing in front of the door? Why aren't you going inside? He's like, we're waiting until you go in, then we'll go. I'm like, please just go. It's fine. Please get out of here. But they didn't. They waited until so I like went to the door. Yeah. I rang the doorbell, and the guy's parents were still there. Yeah. And they were like, they answered the door like, I'm so sorry, we're grabbing our bags, we're gonna be out of here, so sorry. Like they were apologetic that I was going into their house so early, and they thought that anyway. So I was there at this party an hour early. My parents were in the parking lot, and the first people came like an hour and a half into the thing. It
Oh
was
my
it was a
gosh.
mess. It was It was super awkward. I don't really
Yeah.
like. I wasn't really super close with this guy by high school.
That must have been the longest hour and a half.
Yeah. No, truly, it was. I mean, like, truly, just I brought myself back when I was telling that story, and you know, I think it's important to just. The whole point of that song is there is a glow up, right? Like over time we learn ourselves, we learn to return back to ourselves, and like the things that we were embarrassed by before, the things that makes us special and like lets us shine today. Yeah. And so that's why the song started with that. Is like, this is an embarrassing thing that happened to me, but it kind of turned into like, you know, now, you know, a little bit of a glow up happened.
A little bit. Come on, Mikey. You've blown up.
And it's, you know, it makes the story more interesting.
Yeah.
It gave me a lot of character to have to go through one of 20,000 other embarrassing stories I could tell you. But
and now that you've put yourself on blast.
And here we are.
When you get super big, and if your head gets too big, I'll be like, Mikey, we got to ground you.
That's right.
And remind you.
We're going to pull back the clips. We have the receipts now.
We have the receipts.
Just imagine me standing outside of the hedges of this house waiting for people to come in. My dad's like, why aren't you going inside?
That's so funny. I would have laughed if they just stayed there. It's just like this whole moment of awkwardness building and building.
And that's you know, that's life.
So good.
Yeah.
I would love to know about when you did start your early beginnings of like really now, like how did you know that you wanted to like create music that wasn't just for church, that wasn't just for you to express yourself, but now it's like stuff that you wanted to create to share with others? Well, when was that?
Yeah, my solo project didn't start until the year before the pandemic. It was in 2019.
Cool.
I was like in my undergrad, and that was the first time that I had decided to like actually put out music that was my own. The project before that, like actually putting my music into the real world, was actually in the format of a musical. I wrote a musical with my sister and my parents when I was in high school.
Okay.
So this was all amidst all of that era, and we used this musical as a tool to raise money for local and global charities. So over the 6 years that we put this musical on, we raised over $250,000 for local and global charities, which was amazing, and it's like one of my proudest things that I still, you know, remember. And
what was the musical about?
It was called Right Here, Right Now, and it was about a group of university students who were graduating and had different stories to tell, and were just like recalling these times in their life that were, you know, like changed, like a pivotal moment that changed them, and one person didn't feel like they had a story to tell until something happens to them in the span of musical. So my sister and I wrote all the songs for this. I was like 15. My sister was 19 or 20. Yeah. And my parents like wrote the script. And that was the first time that we had actually written something that was presented to the public in a real way. So it wasn't necessarily like my personal music, but it was interesting to have the constraints of, this is the story. These are the major points and the plot points of the story. How are we going to channel an emotional moment or feeling in this that actually doesn't make it feel out of place? You know, for musicals, that's not everyone's cup of tea. Yeah. It's mostly because it's like, why are these people singing when they're grieving, or why are these people singing at the coffee shop? You know, like,
this is how I feel about musicals.
Well, you know, and totally fair. It's like, why are you singing? Yeah. So the challenge, why are you singing? So it's like, what the challenge was, how do we create this naturalistic, as much as you can in a musical, approach to injecting real emotions in a plot that elevates the storyline? Yes. And that was our first challenge. That was the first time that I was exposed to that kind of challenge. And as soon as I did it, I was hooked. Yeah.
That is super cool. Yeah. So your parents are musicians as well, or?
They are not professional musicians. Yeah. My parents, I kind of got the cue from them. We're going to, I guess, talk about like the two worlds, my two worlds, like academia and music informing each other. My parents are, you know, like professionals in different industries. My dad actually works at UBC, and my mom works at BCIT. So a little bit more on the like we work in the academic spaces, and my mom's like an IT person.
Very cool.
But they loved music. That was something that I grew up with, and that was injected into my veins at such an early age, to use music not just as an aesthetic experience, but as a tool, as a way to transform, the power of music to heal, to touch people, to tell a story, and to use it as a medium to raise funds and the philanthropic efforts as well.
I love that. Yeah. Shout out to your parents.
My parents, they're the real ones. They're the real ones.
For real.
Yeah.
And I love that they didn't discourage you from pursuing this as something that you're also passionate about and that you care about, that they really help build a positive relationship to music and music as an expression, but also this tool for change.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was very early in my life ingrained in me. And it's nice to be able to talk to them about, even now with my creative projects, all these ideas and how to, elevate it, make it more meaningful in certain ways. And it always comes back to using the power of music for more than just entertainment purposes. There's actual substance here.
Yes.
So mold that and to use it in an effective way. I'm all about it, yeah.
Who were some of your early teachers, mentors along your path?
In music or in general?
In music, sure, but also I think because what you're writing about is expressing also your life.
Yeah.
There's also people in your life that have helped shape that.
Yeah, I mean, my parents, of course, they're the first people who kind of exposed me and showed me through action what that looked like. Everything, their actions really were consistent with their words. And growing up, my sister and I mean, we're so oriented to making everything intentional and purposeful and meaningful, not just for ourselves, but for our communities around us, because that's what they did. They did that in the Philippines before they immigrated here. They were really heavily rooted in their communities, and it radiated outward the energy to help the communities and to be part of the community in a meaningful way. And so that was just ingrained in us in such a young age that it's just part of who I am now, and I'm really proud that that's a part of who I am. Early, my piano teacher, Gloria Cristobal, I didn't love piano lessons at the beginning growing up, as many kids do when they're put into a room and are you have to practice.
I quit too early.
Yeah, it's sometimes you really realize early that it's this is not for me. But sometimes I didn't know that it was for me. And so my piano teacher, what was nice about it is we did the whole classical training route. But at some point she saw that I started composing and started mixing things up. And her dad was a world-renowned performer, composer, pianist, and started introducing these compositions that he had written, and was really encouraging. He was she was telling me that her dad used to write and compose on napkins because they didn't have, they didn't have, when he didn't have access to paper, and they obviously didn't have computers in the 60s or the 70s. He was writing down notation on napkins.
Wow.
And composing, and that to me was so inspirational. So she started, teaching me improvisation and other aspects that are not so rigid and classically trained in that paradigm. So she was a really early influence in that realm for sure. Hundreds of people in my life I could point to. A lot of my educators, now that I teach at UBC now, I teach undergrad psychology at UBC.
Cool.
And now I have a huge respect for educators who really care to be there and care to foster growth in their students. I try to do that for my students. But a lot of educators growing up from elementary to high school were integral. They just gave me the courage and this feeling that helped me know that I actually had something worth sharing. And I think every single person has that thing, and it's a matter of crafting that and building it and letting that grow. That's really important, and I really have a big appreciation for all the educators that gave me that push.
I love this.
Yeah.
When did you decide you weren't going to pick a lane? And why did you put that in your bio? Well,
truthfully, it was a kind of I felt there was a point in my life where there was an ultimatum that I had to choose. I was applying for university, because I come from a family that really values education. And I knew that I was going to do some kind of degree, but I didn't know what in. I loved science, I loved music, So I applied for music school and I applied for a science school. And I got in both. And I wasn't expecting to get into the music school. Yeah. So this was a really tough thing for me to kind of navigate.
Was it a music school here?
It was Berkeley in Boston. I don't know. I was like a 17-year-old kid who was like, wow, Boston, you know, like the States, like this is where opportunities are.
Music history.
Music, you know, and it was such an amazing prospect that I didn't even know that I had. I applied to UBC here because I knew it was an excellent school. I didn't have to go far. It was a time of my life where I really was still finding myself and wanted to be grounded in community. So at that point, I was like, I have to choose between music or science. Like I couldn't be both, you know? And through that decision-making process, I ultimately decided to stay in the city and pursue science. What was really amazing that I found was that obviously music was a part of me, and I wasn't going to just stop doing it because I wasn't studying it. Yeah. So I just kept doing it. I kept writing. I kept being involved in the musical that we had written. I kept, you know, being really interested in that realm. And I just was like, well, I don't need a degree to keep doing it. A lot of like my favorite musicians don't have a degree in music, and it doesn't, you know, you don't need to have that. I realized that the benefit of going to music school was the connections that you make at the music school, because of course you're getting the cream of the crop. Yeah. But I've met such amazing people through just social media, like through the internet, that came from Berkeley, that didn't come from Berkeley, that have music backgrounds, that don't have music backgrounds. And so through this time, I was kind of going in between. I was like doing the science thing and like really learning more about, you know, my first year, I took a psychology class, fell in love, got hooked. I was like, what's happening in this brain of ours? And then I would keep doing music and I would write music. And then at some point, I was like, well, what happens to our brains when we listen to music? Like, why is music so powerful? Why is it that, you know, I listen to a song, it can bring me to tears. And for the same song, in a different context, it will make me feel euphoric and excited and like free. And so these kind of these two worlds, I realized could just inform each other. And they continue to inform each other. So that's when I realized, well, I'm just going to, you know, find a combination. Like I'm going to try to see if there is something in between. I didn't know what that was, but I came to this realization of like research. So there's a lot of people who ask these same questions and understand what happens in our brains when we listen to music and how it interacts with our psychology, with our memories, with our emotions. I just kept going down that route, and here I am, like 5 years into a PhD, and it's what wakes me up in the morning. It's what gets me giddy at night, what keeps me up at night, and I feel like there's a lot of power in this not choosing a lane, right? Yes. Not feeling prescribed to one thing or another, but to find a way. I know that's a privileged take too, honestly. Like a lot of people have to do one thing because you gotta, you know, do what you gotta do. And I feel extremely privileged, extremely blessed to be able to have combined the two, to have the space to combine the two and to be able to pursue something that I'm super passionate about.
This is so rad.
I'm happy to hear that.
I'm really stoked because I literally have many of the same questions. And I don't know if you remember this, but actually, yes, I met you all that long ago. Yeah. But there was a moment in time where I posted online being like, anybody out there in the internet connected to my social media here or know somebody who like is studying music and the mind, music therapy stuff. And it was Amy who was like, Mikey Jose. I was like, Mikey?
Amy the great connector.
Right? And I was like, Mikey, really? And then I messaged you because I was doing my summer of lived research for my experience design program. And, you know, whatever, it's summer. You were getting booked, lots of shows. It was a busy time.
Right.
But we never got to have the
I know, I felt really bad about that,
that we're about to have
that we're going to have right now. It was meant to be.
This is so exciting. So, first of all, I definitely need to know, what are you actually studying in your PhD, and can you break it down in a way we can understand?
Totally. So, essentially, my thesis project, like the big question that I have, what happens in the brains of people with Parkinson's when they listen to music? Specifically, can we increase motivation and reduce apathy in Parkinson's, like the lack of motivation? It turns out that a lot of people with Parkinson's disease, you know Michael J. Fox, famous actor from Burnaby, who has Parkinson's disease. It's really characterized by tremor and motor symptoms.
Right, because what's actually happening when you have Parkinson's?
There's a depletion of dopamine. It's the same molecule. It's the same chemical that helps us process motivation. So it turns out that in people with Parkinson's, it's like this chemical that is depleted that we don't have a lot of. It affects a lot of the motor symptoms, but it also affects things like motivation. So we see a lot of people in Parkinson's who have the motor symptoms, but also have this like cyclical effect that they also lose motivation. And when you have a disease state that's like Parkinson's, it can be debilitating, it can be discouraging. And so there's this cycle of being apathetic and having the motor symptoms. It makes the motor symptoms worse, then you feel worse, and then that's a harmful cycle for people with Parkinson's. And there's no drug that targets that in Parkinson's or in any other brain disorder. So my question is, we have lots of different things that we experience in the world. We have movies, we have music. Can we use these tools as like a supplementary? We're not going to replace drugs, but can we use it as a tool in our day-to-day lives that can help with motivation? We know music is emotional.
Yeah.
We go to the gym, we have our playlist, we listen to like Beyoncé or like heavy metal, whatever you listen to, it's like, that's our pump-up music. We have our like crying music. We have music that we listen to and we're like, I want to be in my feels. I just broke up with someone, or someone broke up with me. I'm going to eat a tub of ice cream and listen to Adele. Like music is a tool, right? It's a functional tool. So why can't we use music as a functional tool to help people with neurodegenerative disorders like Parkinson's? So my whole research question aims to kind of look at that. I'm scanning people's brains with Parkinson's, and we're doing an intervention with them. We're giving them music, we're giving them podcasts, we're giving them different types of like sound auditory stimuli for different participants, and we want to see if there's a difference, right? We want to see if music is special.
That's so cool.
And
so what are you seeing in the brain scans?
Well, you're seeing like lights come up. This is the nice thing. This is the fun thing is essentially when we are doing anything, our brains are activated.
Right.
And so there are methods that we can use to scan people's brains while they're doing certain things. Like we basically present them with different musical excerpts while they're in the scanner, and we can literally see different parts of their brain lighting up. And so we can say, well, this category of music lights up these parts of the brain, this category of music lights these parts of the brain. And then we can compare pre and post this intervention. We can say, well, by listening to music, the brain has changed. We've created new pathways, we've created new connectivities. And we know that kind of thing, sorry, the hummus is kind of coming up again. We know that that's probably a bad idea to like do this whole thing, but we know from research that music does work, that music does help us. The big question mark is like how? How does it do that? So I'm looking into the brain to answer those questions. I'm trying to see, well, what's happening in the brain? How can we take that knowledge and then use that knowledge to make targeted interventions? Like is it specific types of music? Is it like the qualities of music? Does this only work for Western settings versus Eastern music? Because it's very different. Hundreds of questions, but I digress.
And you are scientific methoding it.
We're scientific. It's like Brian McKnight. It's like 1, you're like a dream come true. 2, scan the brain. 3, what happens? I'm joking. But there's steps to it. It's methodical. It's a beautiful thing. Art and science coming together.
So I guess I'm wondering, are you finding that different people react differently to different genres that speak to them? Because we have like a natural preference towards different genres based on maybe like what we culturally grew up with, or
100%,
et cetera, taste and preference, right?
That's exactly it. The big finding when it comes to especially listening to music and preference with music, some people are like, is it jazz music? Is it hip hop that's the best? It really is intertwined with our own experiences, our own emotions, our history. All that's really intertwined in this mixture of soup in our brains that tells us what we like and what we don't like. So, there are some participants that I have who are, most of them are, older. But some participants, we ask them what kind of music they like, so we can kind of mix them with our music that we've selected. And there's some people who love classical music. There's some people who love rave music. There's some people who like Beyoncé, like Taylor Swift. It's all over the place. And the music that ignites our brains, that like we see the most activity in the brain when we love a piece of music versus something we don't really like, to our own preference, it depends on our preferences. It's not tied to a genre. It's not tied to whatever. It's everything you mentioned of maybe it's cultural ties, or it's a song that has a specific memory that's attached to it. And that's what seems to be, across the literature, across the research, the most powerful music for us is obviously the ones that are personal to us.
I want to share, so last summer when I was doing my research for my Experience Design Certificate program, my core question was, how do music and dance, because those are my worlds, how do music and dance catalyze transformative shifts in the body, the mind, and community, and under what conditions? How might I design, as an experienced designer, those conditions in future experiences so that impact and transformation is a natural and inevitable occurrence?
I just got goosebumps. Yeah. That was crazy. So this is meant to happen. Like, this is a very, like, we should talk after this too, because
agreed.
This sounds amazing.
Yes,
yeah.
It will be our ongoing point of conversation in our friendship.
That's right. Yeah.
But essentially, so last year in the act of doing my lived research, it wasn't just reading things, but it was going out and living and experiencing. Yeah. And so I had created essentially this whole evaluation form for every event that I went to, and I was documenting my emotional states and shifts that would occur before and after, and what factors of music and dance and how much that was centered, or like the main focus within an event, and how that impacted me. It was really cool to document all of that. But anyway, part of like what I was reading, if anyone wants to start diving into music in the mind, there's literally a book called Music and the Mind, which is, or sorry, This is Your Brain on Music by Daniel Levitin.
Yeah,
and
Canadian guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I never knew. Shout outs to Daniel Levitin, the Canadian.
Yeah.
So what fascinated me was to learn that music doesn't just sound nice, but it engages reward, prediction, motor, and regulation systems all at once. For example, when a track builds tension and releases just right, the brain's dopamine circuitry lights up, and that chemistry is a big part of why groove, for example, feels so irresistible. And I was listening to the interview you did with Rohit Joseph on CBC's Vibin, also another shout outs, that you started to create music with this science in mind. Like, you literally talked about how you're like, I'm going to put a drop here and I'm going to do this. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah. This is the thing that really gets me, is the science informing the art informing the science. Sometimes the best art is like spontaneous, right? You create out of a place that is that's just feels right, There's a lot of vibes-based things that go on when you create art, right? It's like
it doesn't explain with words.
You can't really explain it with words, right? What I love about what I love about creating art is it's free. It's a free expression. When I'm writing music, I'm not thinking methodically at all. I'm just like, I'm throwing things at the wall. I'm seeing what sticks. I'm seeing what gives me that feeling. Because at the end of the day, you can create all of these, you can create a formula of what it means to be a perfect song, but if it doesn't feel like anything, or if there's nothing new about it, then it's just another thing, right? Like, another thing that you're creating. So I like to be free and not so constrained to rules when writing, but when I'm editing, I'm like a scientist. And I heard, I think Tyler, the Creator, said something pretty similar to this. Tyler, I like huge respect to his artistry, where he, I think, describes it the same way. When you're editing and when you're bringing it and you're putting it into a project, like an album, like I'm working on my debut album right now, and it is a really difficult thing. People think you're just slopping like 10 songs on a thing together, but it tells a story. It has different elements to it. Each song might sound completely different, but there is a through line.
Yes.
So what I like to think about is even down to the order of the tracks. Where you've quoted Daniel Levitin, and you're creating anticipation, and you're creating, expectation, and you want to either like violate them or you want to satisfy them. When do you want to do that? You don't want to have every song that ends in like a one chord, because then it's predictable. Everybody knows, oh, this is going to end in a happy place. This is why, like there needs to be tension that's building. And like a lot of things in life, we have expectation of what's going to happen, and the tension, the drawing it in, like the yearning is what gets us to keep going. So that's where I bring the science in. Is like, that's scientifically proven. We're all drawn to what's going to happen next. Like, this is what I'm creating here. I'm creating some mystique. This is what the story is. But where is it going, right? So that's where you can add like strategic elements, drops. You can add interludes. There's so many elements you can play with music as one medium, that you can play with these emotions. You can build up to this moment and completely take it away from someone, and makes people feel angry or
the cliffhangers.
It's like, we're really toying with people's emotions. It's like, where are you taking it? And so again, art and science can be really played together. Science, I feel like, tells us the tools that we can use in art so that we can effectively tell stories.
This makes me very excited for your debut album, especially since you're applying everything you just said into that process.
Well, yeah, we're trying.
I don't want to go fully into there yet, because I still want to talk about all of this.
Yeah,
but,
please.
One of the things that I found really fascinating to learn about was that when we listen to music together, the same parts of our brain fire off, and how we can experience this word entrainment. I love this word entrainment, where we sync to a beat, where our like literal like motor parts of our brain sync to what we're listening to, and you just find all of us are just tapping at the same time. And all of this applies to me when I think about being in a space dancing together. And that music has this power to be able to co-regulate all of us and put us all in the same wavelength. Another thing I also found really fascinating was like, why is it, because you mentioned this earlier, that like we have such a strong link in our brains when it comes to memories and music? Why is it that when you said Brian McKnight, I was like, you're like a dream come true, and it just came right away.
And then you remembered the embarrassing moment, right? Like, it's tied to all of that. Yeah, that's like a natural thing.
Yeah. Can you tell us more about that, or what do you know more about like memory specifically linked to?
Well, I also want to talk about the movement piece too, because I think it's all intertwined, right? In we call them regions of interest in the brain. That when we create a question or a hypothesis, we look into these regions. I'm looking at, for Parkinson's, the motor region, the auditory region, of course, so like processing sound, and the reward centers of the brain, right? So all of them kind of inform each other. They're all connected. On the movement piece, it's really interesting that you bring up entrainment and things like that. A lot of the research that's coming out with music and Parkinson's is to use some like rhythm to actually align the walking patterns of people with Parkinson's. Because people with Parkinson's, there's rigidity, right? There's motor symptoms that go on. And one of those things is, some people with Parkinson's can't even coordinate their walking movements. So there's a little bit more of like a shuffling, or more weight on one foot than the other. So there's been a lot of research that's shown that just providing a steady beat external to your body for people with Parkinson's can actually help Parkinson's patients, people with Parkinson's, smoothen out their gait. They actually will go from like something that's uneven to something that is within the rhythm of the time of the music that they're listening to.
That's so cool.
So there is something, there's something to that. And then when you talk about dance, there's research coming out of music, Parkinson's, and dance right now, which is like the benefit of music and the benefit of movement, and how that also helps people. So I wanted to mention that, because I think for your interest as well, it's like it feels like there's a lot of work that's coming out of that. As for the memory piece, this is what really got me interested in this whole realm. Have you watched Coco, the movie?
No, but so many people have said it's wonderful.
I don't want to spoil it, but first of all, it wrecked me. My legal name is Miguel. The main character's name is Miguel. It's about music. It's about memory. There's, you know, this idea in the movie that music can bring back memories of people with Alzheimer's disease, people who have had the parts of their brain that is actually withering away that's really important for forming memories. Even people with Alzheimer's can use music as a tool to bring back memories. And the kind of, you know, it's still being discovered what the mechanism is, but it really, the leading hypothesis, the thoughts around it, is this idea that music is emotional. The things that we remember the most, and this is supported by a lot of research, are emotional things. When we think about flashbulb memories, we think about, you know, what happened when Kobe died, or where we were when COVID started, you know. We feel like we can remember them like it was yesterday because it was inherently such an emotional thing. Music is emotional. So when we tie an earlier parts of our life with like music with our certain memories, like Brian McKnight with meeting Brian McKnight, that sticks with us, right? It's an emotional thing. It's an emotional moment. We remember how we felt then. That changes too. Like our memories are not videos. They are always forming. They're always changing. Every time we bring up a memory, we're reconstructing it. It's changing. So we can, the same as with music, right? When we listen to a piece of music, it can feel really awesome now. Like, let's say it's like, this is my song with me and this girl that I'm dating, right? And then you break up and you listen to the song and it's like, wow, this is the saddest song of all time. It's
interesting, a new association.
It's a new association, and it's all to do with, you know, what we think is because music is emotional. Music is really deeply emotional, and if it has emotional ties to it, that's something that you tend to remember later on. Even when other parts of your brain that are helpful for recalling memories wither away, these cues, these really solid memories that are tied to music, for instance, kind of remain.
That's so interesting. So my dad has Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
And I never heard him play this music. Yo-Yo Via May. Have you heard of this guy? Yeah, neither did I until like all of a sudden he's in his Alzheimer's era and he just keeps playing it on he just keeps playing it on the YouTube. But like it makes him happy. He's so jolly. And then he tells the same stories that are linked to that era of his life where he'd be like, this song, I danced with your mom at a party. We were just drinking Coca-Cola, you know, going to the disco. And this was the song, Yo-Yo Via Me. And he just tells me all these memories linked to that. But here's the truth. I'm sick of hearing Yo-Yo Via Me. And now you're making me
gotta let him listen to it. Yeah.
Now you're making me think, do I need to like dig into other music that he might have listened to at that time? And maybe that will unlock something else.
100%.
You know
it's worth a shot.
That's worth a shot. Like, because A, I'm getting sick of hearing this song. But B, what you just said, where you're like, okay, certain memories are linked to this music. If right now he's just stuck in this pattern of like accessing this, what if I go into some deep cuts of like oh my God, what do we call the OPM? Like original Filipino music?
Yes.
And just see what happens.
Totally. This is the powerful thing about music is like you can tap into memories that he didn't even pass on or tell anybody before. We tried that with my late grandma. Also had she was starting to have some dementia in her later years, and we did the same thing. There was we were starting to play music. She was a little bit more lethargic, a little bit calmer in her later years. And then we would just play certain music that she liked to dance to. She really liked Meghan Trainor and like different. And then she said very similarly, she like named out a song and we're like, what is that? We like looked it up and it was a song and she started, you know, dancing to it and singing along to it. It's incredible what you can discover when you just kind of go back to these early memories and this kind of like key to these unlocked memories that these people, our loved ones, ourselves that we have. It's a really powerful thing.
This makes me feel so great that you share this. And I really can't wait to try that with my dad because at this point it's like I'm trying to like harvest as much stories that I can unlock that he can still access. But it's funny how certain things, like out of nowhere, all of a sudden, me and my brothers look at each other like, we haven't heard this story before.
Yeah.
Like, what? This dog that you keep talking about that was in the neighborhood? Like, you never told us his name was Homer. Like, what? How
Exactly.
did that?
Yeah.
Anyway, on another flip side of things that happen with music and the mind, I found it super fascinating to learn more about neuroplasticity and how it's actually good for our brains to be in the act of learning music, like learning how to play an instrument, musical training, how it reshapes the brain, that our auditory motor networks, the cerebellum, and their connections show that learning and playing an instrument isn't just, gratifying, it feels good, but it keeps the brain flexible and healthy.
I love, you've done your research.
That was my summer of live research.
Yeah.
Do you feel that at play in your own brain as a musician? Like, do you feel that?
I mean, I don't physically feel what is showing up in the scans, right? Like when you actually, it's really interesting that you say that, because there's now new research where people can now play versions of instruments in the MRI scanner. Like you can't bring metal into that room, but now people have made like keyboards and cellos that are safe to go into the MRI scanner. And people, now we can see what happens when people are improvising versus like making rote music, like where the creativity comes in. This other angle of actually actively engaging in music unlocks other networks that aren't involved when we're just listening to music. Music is said to be one of the only types of stimuli that actually lights up the whole brain. Like we have our motor systems, we have our reward systems, we have our emotional centers that are all engaged in acting in this concert, really, in our brains and in our bodies. So when I'm like creating music, when I'm writing, I don't think about that, but I know it's going on. And that's why I'm such a big advocate for people to engage in the arts at every age. When people are talking about cutting funding for arts and music programs, that is where so much of this comes from. When we're talking about unlocking memories from an early age to later on, or even like the motor skills and the cognition, the thinking that goes along with coordinating between different people, with playing your own instrument, from learning these creative patterns. That is so, so important. It's not seen as like math or science where it's very rigid and it'll get you a job, but it is so, so important. Like I'm such an advocate for, and also kids just need to like try things and be creative, and if you suck, that's fine. There's a lot of things that we're terrible at, but if it's good for you, you should do it. It's worth it.
I actually felt my brain changing when I started. So we talked about the piano era. And like I was forced to do it as a kid. I learned very quickly, whenever any parent or any authority figure tries to tell me what to do, I rebel really hard. So I quit too early, regretted that. And then during my COVID times where we were all tapping into childhood joys or whatever, you're trying a new thing.
Trying to get back into it,
The new thing I got into was like, I want to pick up the piano and play again. And so when I started to get lessons and realized, I actually gravitate towards like writing songs and writing music for fun. This is not a project that anyone will ever hear.
But that's what's happening right after this ends. You're going to show me your demo.
It was fully for me.
And
I felt something shifting in my brain state when I would lock into playing. And then when I learned this, I was like, I should just keep doing this till I grow old because this is what is going to help regenerate my brain and keep it healthy, keep it flexible.
100%.
And like, if for anything, to just keep at it and make music for fun, for nobody else, but to just keep my brain healthy. Like, hello, workout for the brain, I'm down.
That's perfect. Yeah. And when you're talking about neuroplasticity, it's essentially like our brains are changing all the time. We can choose to change our brains with some things that are habitual, that like create stronger connections, or we can choose to grow in creativity and make new connections in our brain. Like that happens throughout our entire lives. Like we don't stop rewiring our brain. That's the plastic part of it, is it's really always evolving, always changing. So you can actually direct where that change goes, which is amazing.
So cool. I finally got my interview for my research. This was awesome.
First of many.
Yes, first
probably,
of many.
Yeah,
Thank
conversations.
you.
Yeah.
Well, Okay, are we good? How are we feeling?
Feeling great. I'm trying to sneak in a little cracker here and there, but it's great. Yeah. Hummus hitting. Shout out President's Choice. Canadian
No,
brand.
we're not because they didn't sponsor anything,
period.
so it's fine.
We're gonna take that out.
Yeah.
We're gonna
We're gonna edit that out.
We're gonna take that out.
So good.
Sorry, it's my. I'm new to this world.
It's all good. We've
Are we live? We're not live. Right?
We're live. But what I'm saying is, we've talked a lot, and we're actually almost up on our hour. But there's no way we're gonna just end it without talking about this forthcoming debut album. And what can you tell us about it? When is it coming out? What's happening?
That's a great question. Asking myself the same question. I don't want to give a particular timeline.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's still shifting, but it's really in its deep stages, and it is exploring the idea of the album. It's kind of a concept album in a way, but it's exploring this idea that very much reflects life, which is the idea of all or nothing. Right? I feel like I'm a very all or nothing person. I either am fully focused, doing this thing, making sure that I'm like putting my blood, sweat, and tears, not sleeping, not taking care of myself, or I'm completely backing off. I'm not doing anything. I don't have the energy or the willpower or the whatever to keep doing what I'm doing. And it's this interplay of these ideas of like, all of us are chasing something. We have different motivators in life. And in my life, I've found that I've been chasing things and awards and accolades and maybe letters like behind my name and not necessarily always knowing why. Just chasing something relentlessly. And this idea of flipping it on its head when everything is still and you're only by yourself and you need to confront who you are, what you are doing, what is important, what is going to ground you back into the world around you, into the communities around you. So the whole album is really, it kind of takes emotional turns here and there. We're talking about that earlier. Like, I really wanted it to be cohesive, not necessarily in the same type of music that's going throughout. There's a mixture of R&B. There's a mixture of like R&B pop, soul, gospel. I really wanted to explore this whole range of emotions of like, what does it take to achieve your dreams, but what do they even mean? What do your dreams or goals even mean at the end of the day? What are you chasing? So I'm really excited. We're pretty involved in the process. Again, I don't want to really name a particular timeline, but this is the first project front to back that I have put together. I'm working with an incredible producer in Vancouver, one of my best friends, Ben Millman.
Shout out to Ben Millman.
Shout out Ben Millman. He's worked with Tiny Habits. He's worked with Katie Tupper, huge Canadian R&B voice. Marie Dresselheis, another amazing, amazing local artist. And it feels like a project I'm like bringing my community, my people up with me and living the life that is depicted in the album. It feels all very holistic, and I'm just really, it feels very cathartic to make this. So the plan really is to drop 2 babies this year. It's to have the thesis and to have the album drop semi-close to each other.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's ambitious.
Yeah, we've been cooking.
Yeah.
We've been cooking.
Do you feel steps closer towards answering your own question?
I realized that sometimes the answer is not the point. The answer is
wisdom.
I think that's what I've found through this process is like, I'm like, okay, well, how is this project going to end? Like, did I figure something out? I haven't. Like, I haven't figured it all out. So really, it's really, I kind of see this project as like this idea of expansion and return. It's like, at my core, I'm not losing who I am. I'm going back to who I am, the people that I surround myself with, the things that make me who I am. But I'm also expanding to take up more space, to get more experiences that will feed the core, right? So instead of chasing a particular award, like a Grammy or a Juno, just because that's what I have to do to feel like a valid, successful musician, I'm trying to gather these things that actually just like feed who I have always been, and grow that person. And I feel like that is, I mean, it's not the answer, but it's kind of like this living, breathing thing. And that's all we can really ask for. Nobody's got answers. If anybody's got answers, they're liars. Like
I like
really
to
believe
answer questions with more questions, in fact.
And you know what? You probably should do a PhD because that's what it is.
Maybe I will.
Yeah. Endless questions. Yeah.
With this being your debut, I almost said debut.
Yeah.
Filipino accent there. How do you hope to step out into the world, and how do you hope to be received?
Whew. Heavy question. I think I've really honed on to this idea of wanting to be seen and wanting to be perceived.
Ooh, I literally had a conversation about the difference between the two.
Yeah.
Continue.
I don't like to be perceived. I don't like people being like, oh, that is life. And I think art, the best art is like you reflect your own experiences, your own intertwining of emotions and experiences and everything into the art that's been put out there. Like when you go to a gallery, you kind of ponder and look at the art before you read the description, because you're maybe projecting your own experiences onto this thing. So perception is not really the goal. I don't really want to be perceived any more deeply, but I do feel like this project allows me to be seen.
Yeah.
Like what I care about, like my values, and I want people to see themselves in this project. And I think that's like the most powerful thing that we can do with music is connection. And connecting not necessarily through like, hi, this is my entire guts exposed on the table, this is what everything, but it's like, how do you see yourself? How do I see myself? Let's have a conversation. So I just want to see, I want people to see me and see like, see me as a person who just wants to contribute something into the world that's intentional, that has something of meaning, and that people can put their own interpretations and meaning toward and have a conversation. That's all I really want.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, let's take a breath. Well, we are coming up on our hour, but I am not going to let you leave without a rapid fire fun round of questions.
Man, my brain is so unrapid right now, but let's do it. I'm
You'd
ready.
You'd be surprised.
God, I've been awake for so many hours.
Do you need a cracker for a quick moment?
Quick cuke.
I'm known as the salami mommy. This one has a ring of Parmesan around it. It was on sale for $5 for the pack. And
it's from a source of no origin, no particular brand.
No, I'm going to shout out Donald's Market because Donald's is local.
Okay.
And they're awesome, and they have available like a lot of like organic local producers. I will shout out Donald's for free.
Shout out to cucumber farmers and carrot farmers everywhere.
Real talk.
I have the energy.
Yes. So don't overthink. First thing that comes to your mind.
Me? Overthink? All the time. Okay.
First album or song that you ever fell in love with?
Oh, How Deep Is Your Love? Bee Gees.
How deep is your
PJ
love?
Morton.
How deep? That's my mom's favorite song.
So
actually. Go to studio session snack.
Oh, shawarma.
Ooh,
yeah,
chicken
shawarma
or
wrap.
beef?
Chicken shawarma with just a little bit of hot sauce. Yeah, donair. Oh, yeah, donair is really delicious.
Yes.
Yeah.
Karaoke song of choice.
Don't Want to Miss a Thing, Aerosmith.
Oh, that's actually really good. I'm going to a karaoke night tomorrow.
And I better hear a version of Don't Want to Miss a Thing with everything.
I was thinking of like Funkin' for Jamaica. Like I was thinking to sing that song.
That's a winner too.
Okay, rice or noodles?
Rice.
Chopsticks or kamayan with the hands?
Chopsticks.
Artist you'd secretly love to write for?
I could never, but Leon Thomas.
Hey, don't hold yourself
I mean, no,
back.
because he's such a good writer himself.
Right.
I mean, I could be in the room. I'll let me be in the room.
Yeah.
Leon Thomas.
You're like, I'll be his muse. I'll just be there like this.
Yeah, that's right.
Artist you'd love to study in a brain scanner?
Jacob Collier.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't understand his brain, and it's like I feel like it would just the machine would just blow up.
That actually would be pretty sick.
Yeah. I've had this thought. Actually, that's really crazy you asked that, because I've had this thought for a while. And I'm like, how do I get Jacob Collier into an MRI scanner? That's to be determined. Yeah. We'll figure it out.
/ like, do you have the hookups to like a homie pulling up
for
an MRI scan? Because
actually, here's the thing: is like a lot of my friends are coming up in the industry. They're doing really amazing things. A couple of mutuals with Jacob Collier now. So I'm trying. I'm gonna put the grant proposal down, and we'll see who picks it up.
That's it. If your PhD had a soundtrack, what genre is it?
Like right now, like metal, like just screaming.
Okay.
Screaming with a lot of passion and emotion. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Instrument you wish you mastered?
Violin.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What activates you more, rhythm or melody?
Melody. Melody's king.
Thing you say or do for yourself before you step out on stage?
I do a huddle with my band. Somebody takes on the lead, and they like have this little speech, and they're like, and it's a beautiful thing. We kind of like center ourselves. We have a different little cheer every time. It always starts every show with like the best mood.
I love this. Craziest, most memorable performance to date?
Opening for Lawrence, the band, who is a band like a soul pop band from New York. That was like my third ever show, like ever, as a solo artist. And the way that happened was like through an Instagram contest, and it was so unexpected. We played the Vogue Theater, which is like
huge,
one of my favorite venues in the city.
Third show you played with the Vogue.
Third show.
That's crazy.
And I peaked, and it was fine. No, it was great. Yeah. It was great, and it was so unexpected at the time, and I was just playing with the band that I still play with. Yeah, really core memory.
Excellent.
Oh, I have another, but I know this is rapid, but I have
go ahead.
I played a show in Tokyo. It was a solo show that I played. I went to Tokyo to go to a research conference, but I didn't have the funds to pay for the trip, so I applied for. I'm not exposing myself. I applied for a music grant. A music business grant. Said I was going to play a show there. So I had to organize a show. I got the grant. I'm like, okay, well, I have to play a show. I have to meet people. So I organized a show. My cousin came with me. She was translating based on her 500-day Duolingo streak in Japanese.
Congrats.
And it was amazing. I didn't expect like people who would know me from Japan, but people showed up. Like people, like there was people that I was at the conference with. I'm like, please come. Like I don't need this. This room can't be empty. It's really bad. And then people, like fans from Japan, showed up to the show and was like, I can't believe you're here. And I'm like, I can't believe I'm here. That was crazy. And the vibes were immaculate. The owner of the bar, I know this is going long. I know the owner of the owner of the bar paid for shots for everybody in the room because they were just so happy to like the room was packed. Yeah, great gig.
That's amazing. Japan is definitely on my 2026 2027 list.
Beautiful place.
I love that you shared there. Dream future music opportunity, either a performance or collab moment?
I've always wanted to go on tour with Alan Stone. Alan Stone was the first artist that got me fixated on like writing my own music that with like meaning and emotion and soul. I've always wanted to like open for him on tour. So this is my plea, this is my shout to Alan Stone
the seed.
and managers and company. I'll do a great job.
That's true. Electric on stage. Local artist you are stoked on right now that everyone needs to know about?
Marie Dresselheis. No blinking, no thinking. Incredible singer-songwriter. Like, just will tear your heart to pieces with her words and with her like melodic choices. Just amazing.
I love that. I love that you said melodic choices.
Yeah.
What Vancouver needs more of right now?
More music to bring people together, more places centralized to like have different types of music be celebrated and just like people to come out to these things. And I know that it exists already. It's just really people just come out and support the local scene, support the music scene here because it's really amazing, like the music that's coming out of the city.
Agreed. one word for where you're at creatively right now.
Excited. Yeah.
That's a good place
Ecstatic.
to be.
Yeah.
Okay, now my last one. For 2026, year of the horse, fire horse, who I'm stepping into or who I'm becoming is?
A person who is returning back to who he was. That sounds like really deep, but it's really, I'm trying to get back to the things that I used to reject as part of who I am and really embrace those parts.
Like
and
what?
Just like, I think I'm a natural, like, I'm a very expressive. A lot of people are like, your face is so expressive. You're like, you can, from this interview, like, I can't contain my joy. And I used to really contain that for a long time and because I wanted to fit in and whatever. But I just, like, whatever. Just like feel what you feel, you know? Some people, I like, being mysterious is overrated. I think it's whatever. People have that brand and like, if that's them, right? Yeah. I'm returning back to like a joyous, expression-filled, you know, theater kid person, you know, who just like wants to just love and appreciate life.
This is me like high-pitched squealing that's inaudible right now.
Yeah, just like music art, you know.
I love that you shared that. I'm so appreciative of this conversation and this time learning more about your musical upbringing, your journey, what you're excited for, who you're stepping into, and also all the nerdy brain neuroscience stuff.
To nerd.
Which we will continue.
Yeah.
I want to give a big shout outs to everyone who's tuned in on the live stream. I see we've got some comments on there for all y'all who tuned in. Really appreciate you. And to anyone else who's watching this on the replay. Also want to give a big shout outs to Tell the Story Hive for powering today's episode. If you are an artist, a creative, a chef, a musician who's based here in Vancouver, and you have a story to share, you're somebody who I should definitely interview. If you look on the corner of the screen, there will be a QR code on the edited version of this video. You can scan that. There's a form there. Fill it out. And who knows? Maybe you will sit next to me and we will be eating all the lovely snacks and having all the lovely chats. Once again, my name is Kazi. This is Mikey Jose. Find him on the internet at
Mikey Jose.
That's
everywhere.
Everywhere, streaming everywhere. And check out the music videos. Ay nako. Check out the live performance video, Biting My Tongue.
Check out my Rate My Prof. Put some fake reviews in there. Bump up my score. Let's get my classes filled up.
That's it. He doesn't choose a lane, y'all. This is for his academic lane as well, okay? Yeah. But yes, thank you again. This is StoryHive on location, Vancouver, with Beats, Eats, and more. And more.
And more.
Cheers.